And there we go. Can you hear me?
Yo, Alfonso, what's going on, brother?
That's good, man. How are you?
I'm fantastic, man. How we looking? Lighting good?
Beautiful.
Perfect.
Like a fucking Hollywood star.
Like a gentleman. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah. Dude, I'm so excited for this episode. Forgive if my computer moves a lot. I have it on my lap. I thought I like rented out a little like actual recording studio. Turns out it's just a room with two sofas.
You're all good, man. That's fantastic. I
Yeah.
appreciate you having me on. It's a privilege, seriously.
Brother, it is my honor to have you on, and it's an absolute. I'm beyond grateful for you to give me a chance to interview you, for you to listen to me. We already went over this on the call, but I'm just so excited to ramble a couple things with you.
Let's do it. That's the best. Go on
Yeah.
tangents, ramble. That's how podcasts are made, bro.
Oh,
Let's do it.
absolutely, dude. So for the viewers, give us a little bit on who you are, what you're currently doing besides your Twitter stuff, and maybe a little bit after that, what got you to schizo health Twitter?
What's going on, everybody? My name's Antonio. Real name Anthony, but
Damn.
Antonio is what my mother was originally supposed to name me, so I like to go by that as my alias. But so my story is I've always had a passion for healthcare. Um, Around 19, I got my EMT, rode on ambulances a little bit.
Shit.
Currently in nursing school. Uh,
Wow.
Currently work on a ICU as just a patient care tech. It's almost like a nurse aide.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had that passion for healthcare, and seeing the end game really opened my eyes to there has to be a change, and that led me to this esoteric
Mm-hmm.
knowledge that I've honestly accumulated over the past 2 years. And I felt like I've just consumed so much content. I felt like it
Yeah.
was time to really start sharing my knowledge, sharing everything that I've learned, and that's how we go. That's how we started. So
That's beautiful. What got you like interested in healthcare in the first place? Like why were you interested in treating humans?
I was always drawn towards helping people. My mom, parents, my dad, we at a young age they instilled just compassion in me
Wow.
and trying to help people. I felt drawn towards that. I've always felt like I was able to talk to people, and that's a big part of healthcare: being able to talk, communicate, and get to know your patients.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe health is the driver of everything in this world, and helping other people get as healthy as I can help them is honestly my goal. So that's how I really got into healthcare.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Besides currently being in the ICU,
hmm
um, starting in the EMT, how are you helping people besides that?
You know, I really wanted to start going on Twitter and getting sharing my knowledge to a broader audience.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a big proponent of just practicing what I preach. For a
Wow.
while, I've been eating these foods: eggs, beef, liver, uh,
Yeah.
and I felt like if I showed what I do, especially on X, more people will take part in that. And that's one way I feel, not in the clinical aspect, but online, I can help more people achieve optimal health for sure.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That just made me think of like a duality. You work at an ICU, which is like a really centralized and fixed way of seeing health, and you're
Exactly.
also part of like schizo Twitter, where you're chugging raw eggs and sunning your balls.
Ex-
So
You're not
it,
wrong.
yeah, it's such a. I mean, first of all, after being part of Health Twitter, you can maybe become aware of certain things that are going on in the ICU,
Yep.
etc. Right? And I mean, I guess my question is, you started going at the EMT at 19. What opened your eyes to what actually is going on in the world? If you know what I mean, what actual health is, that it's not about food, it's about life. That cholesterol is high cholesterol is dangerous for you is a myth. What kept you open to that?
Honestly, EMT wise, when I first started that, the number one thing that it opened my eyes to was how short your life is and how it can end in an instant. You can Waking up each day is a privilege.
Mm-hmm.
People die in their sleep every single day. I've got on calls at 6:30 in the morning, hearing the alarm, cardiac arrest, and just like that,
Wow.
overnight your life is over. So working in emergency medicine helped put into perspective how precious your life is.
Wow.
So in order to optimize that minute, small, precious life that we all have every single
Mm-hmm.
day,
Mm-hmm.
is to optimize your health and not be afraid of death, but do what you can to avoid those tragedies. And that's one thing that really opened my eyes working in emergency medicine, how short your life is and
Wow.
what we got to do to keep that from happening.
That's beautiful, brother. And what's next for you? I guess what do you how into medical school are you right now? How many
So
years have you been
I just wrapped up my third year of nursing school.
there? Okay.
I've had a love for medicine. I like what I'm doing as a nurse. We're
Mm-hmm.
going to see where the road takes us. There in nursing, there's tons of different routes you can go. You can get your NP, almost nurse practitioner, kind of like a mini doctor. You can
Okay.
go on and get anesthesia work, be an nurse anesthetist. But right now, just focusing on getting that 4-year nursing degree, and dabbling one day in maybe take it to the next step and maybe
Yeah.
apply to medical school, get there one day. So that I'm trying to take it one day at a time, but of course, I always strive for the greatest thing I can do, and getting that MD would be a blessing for me, and a
Yeah.
huge priority. But one
That's
day at a
beautiful.
time.
What exactly? Little by little, man. That's the name of the podcast. Um, so how's nursing school currently? How is it? How are you balancing? I mean, I can imagine, I don't know, but that career is extremely rigorous. How are you balancing that with, lifting weights, eating good, fasting?
Yep,
Um, how's that balance in light environment too is I think a good question for me because
exactly. I definitely want to come back to setting that circadian rhythm, light environment with these odd schedules I have.
yeah.
But nursing school wise, it is very rigorous.
Hmm.
It's mentally demanding. Um, and a lot of this knowledge, esoteric knowledge that I've accumulated, I like to apply it to my studies. Not saying I'm some biohacker, hardcore like that, but
Yeah.
some things that really optimize my brain greatly help with my studies. Like a healthy
Mhm.
brain is a healthy body, and I'm a huge believer of that. Some things I do just to help me get through the day. I like to fast. I like to fast for the first 5, 6, 7 hours of the
Yeah, I
day.
saw.
Yeah,
Wow.
that
Hmm.
that keeps me sharp. Black coffee, water, and having that ritual in the morning keeps me focused, keeps me ready to attack the books and get the hardest thing done first thing in the day. Almost called eating the frog. I don't know if you
Hmm.
ever heard of that saying before.
No,
Yeah, so
no,
eat the
I like
frog.
that.
Do the hard thing first. The thing that I want to do the least is, I'm going to be honest, study my nursing classes.
Hmm.
So before I go on Twitter, before I start going down PubMed rabbit holes, I like to do the hard thing first, which is study the stuff that I'm not so fond of. Um, I love
Hmm.
nursing school, but there are some things I'm not the most interested in. But that's the game. And doing that hard thing first helps me get through the day, and gives me that time where I know I did my main task is being a student. That allows
Hmm.
me to do a little more later in the day with some fun stuff on apps, social media. So
Yeah, I love that. What did you say it's called? Eating the frog?
yeah,
Right. So
eating
it's when, yeah.
eating the frog. I don't know where I remember hearing it, but it just made sense to me.
Hmm.
Uh, do the hard thing first. When you wake up, Another thing I never do, I don't touch my phone for the first 2 hours of the day,
Love
right?
that.
When you wake up, your brain is completely clear slate. You're fresh. You
Mhm.
have all this mental bandwidth, right? Apply that to the hardest thing of the day in the morning,
Yeah.
whether that's studying, whether that's doing an ice bath, which I know you're very fond of,
Mhm.
destroyer of ice baths, Fonzo.
Oh
But
yeah.
but doing the hard thing first, ice bath, studying, that sets you up for the great day. Eat the frog because you wouldn't want to eat your dinner. When I eat my dinner with my raw liver, guess what I'm always eating first? I'm
Yeah.
eating my raw liver first. I'm eating
Yeah.
the frog before I get to my steak and purple potatoes. You know what I
I
mean?
love that.
Yeah. So
When have you since when did you start to eat the frog first? When did that become part of Antonio Ernesto?
I want to say I really started figuring that out during my freshman sophomore year of school.
Okay.
Learning these intense chemistry classes, these med
Oh yeah.
microbiologies,
Mhm.
it's not easy stuff to remember. So by doing that hard thing first, that very challenging class, I felt that it allowed me to retain that difficult information better,
Yeah.
and it freed up that the rest of the day for lighter work that I have a little better time with, that I understand more. So,
Yeah. I love that. A healthy brain is a healthy body.
yep.
How do you practice keeping your brain healthy? And I guess I want to tie that to another question that I had with you, which was, um, how do you approach your lifting, your food, your light environment, your actual health? I think you call it the well, we're going to talk about something else later. I'm not going to mention it yet,
Yeah.
but yeah.
So, healthy brain, healthy body, right?
Hmm.
No matter what's going on, I always do two things. Well,
Okay.
one thing every single day, and that's getting my steps in. Having that
Yeah.
time where you can relax your mind, have that kinetic movement, even
Hmm.
kinetic studying, which I'm a big proponent of, walking through the track, mindlessly scrolling through Quizlet and studying, moving your body, giving you that time for movement as what humans are intended to do, really helps me with my brain. Gym wise, I'm a big proponent of lifting 3 days a week, right? Not if you want to go more often, that's fine. But
Yeah.
I always save those 3 days a week, um, and there's nothing that's going to deter me from going those 3 days a week. Let's say I
Mm.
don't have time to go to the gym, that's on me. I
Yeah.
obviously didn't prioritize my time properly. Um, so I always try to get those gym days in because
Hmm.
I know in the moment I might feel stressed. I might feel, okay, what am I doing at the gym right now? I have an exam in literally 12 hours the next morning. What am I
Yeah.
doing? But given that mental break, relaxing a little bit, realizing that this is good for me as much as I feel stressed, that'll help
Oh
me
yeah.
in the rest of the day for sure. And help my studies that evening as well, giving me that refresher
Yeah.
break.
When did you start lifting weights, and for what reason?
So lifting weights wise,
Because shit, you have a crazy physique, bro.
thank you, brother.
Yeah.
I want to say 4 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, I always played basketball throughout my entire young adult life, and it's hard to lift weights during basketball because it messes up your shot and all that.
Yeah.
So once I got to college, I really started to dial in and focus on my physique.
Okay.
So honestly, 3 years ago was when I really hit the ground running with it. Whenever I wasn't playing any sports, I was able to have my time to the gym. I wasn't really worried about shooting basketball or if
Hmm.
I was so drained from football practice, which I also played. Um,
Okay.
so I want to say 3 years, and something physique wise that I really noticed was doing less is more. Maybe that freshman year of college, I was going to the gym 4 or 5 days a week,
Wow.
hour and a half each day. My best gains I've ever seen was when I started lifting less. I cut it down to 3, 4 days a week,
Okay.
sometimes two.
Mm-hmm.
And especially as a natural man, you have to give yourself that adequate rest.
Yeah.
That's when the muscle's built, right? Um, the guys you see lifting 2 hours each day, guess what they're using? They're using anabolic steroids, and
Shit.
people don't
Not only are
realize
they using anabolic steroids, but they eat like absolute fucking
it,
monsters.
exactly. And I truly believe that lifestyle takes away from the real meaning of fitness.
Mm-hmm.
Real meaning of fitness is using your fitness as a almost like an aid to your life.
Okay.
Fitness isn't my life, right? My life is working in the hospital, helping people, having fun on Twitter. Um, you know, I use fitness as an aid because fitness should not be 24/7, right?
Mm-hmm.
What should be 24/7 is your nutrition, you're getting your steps in, getting movement, and that's how I like to approach fitness. But 3 days a week though, I think that's the perfect amount to build a great physique, give
Mm-hmm.
yourself that adequate rest, get stronger, hit those key lifts, and you'll be golden. So,
I love it. By the way, when I'm looking down, I'm taking notes or reading something
yep,
just in case. Yeah. So I have a couple things to break apart from here.
yep.
Um, so you started 4 years ago to work lifting weights with a focus for your physique.
Honestly, yeah. I
Yeah.
started out. I was like, you know what? I wanna change my body. I want to recomp. I
Mm-hmm.
wanna I wanna look. You got to look good, man. Like I know it's maybe naive to say, superficial to say, but the way you look truly does matter. Like the way
Absolutely.
you walk in a room, if you have your physique on point, you can command a room in that aspect. So that's how I really started with building my physique, improving my appearance. But farther I went is the more I realized health
Yeah.
is brain, body, spirit,
Of
all that.
course. Okay. Give me a second here. Okay. So I want to ask a question on the same lines.
Yep.
You've posted on Twitter the Jack and Handsome protocol.
Yeah.
Do you want to break that down? How help the viewers and me look like a fucking Hollywood star?
Bro, the jacked and handsome protocol, you can do everything in the world, but it always starts up in here.
Mm-hmm.
First, you got to think you're the man. The you have to be your own fan, and that starts by almost psyoping yourself into saying, "Dog, I'm jacked and handsome no matter what I look like, no
Yeah.
matter how I feel." It's a mental game, right? But a little more in depth with the jacked and handsome protocol
Yeah.
is eat clean, avoid gut disrupting foods, seed oils, processed sugar, because all that stuff will come out in your face.
Yeah.
Um, I find that even having some alcohol here and there, in 3-4 days, I will feel like that will come out in my skin. I'll break out a little bit.
Mm.
Um, I know I mentioned a little Patron Anejo in there at the end on the Jack and Hansen protocol, but tequila in general is the
For the spirit.
for the spirit, as well as it is the healthiest alcohol. It does have some pre and probiotic
Yeah.
effects, but so I mean that's about it for the protocol, man. Like that was a little joke, but there is some truth in it. Weight wise, do the bare minimum. You don't have to hit your muscles from all these micro different angles. Focus on the large muscles, your back, your weighted pull ups, um, delts, upper chest. I'm a big
Okay.
proponent of working your upper chest because that's what gives you that almost shelf look. Wear a collared shirt. I think that's a great aspect to
Mm-hmm.
having your physique, hitting those incline bench presses, um, getting your steps in, getting lean, right? That's at the end of the day, that's a big one.
Of course.
Hitting 14K steps a day, you will lean out like crazy. I mean, of course, watch what you eat, calories dialed,
Of course.
but I feel like my physique always looks the best in periods I'm walking more. So if there's one thing to that protocol is just move more, get lean, um, show your bone structure. Having that extra percent of body fat will shroud some of your features. Um, so that's a big point. Just getting your steps in.
Yeah. And what is light for you? How do you protect your light environment, or yeah, I think I've seen you prioritize it. You have a tweet saying uh prioritizing sunbathing over the gym is real health or something like that, right?
I really do stand by that.
Yeah.
We are products of the sun. Humans are products of the sun. We have to align with the sun, and especially in today's modern environment, sunlight. I'll circle this back to the gym. I think it's better to tan outside for an hour than go to a deep, dark, grungy gym, no light. What's the difference between going to the gym and being under blue light at work all day?
Yeah.
There's almost no difference. So
Yeah.
getting that sunlight whenever possible, man. We could go on and on about the benefits of sunlight, but it really sets all of your biological processes. Every cell in your body operates on a 24-hour biological clock. And if you don't have that sunlight constantly absorbed through your skin, your cells are going to be out of whack. Your digestion is going to be out of whack. Your brain will be out of whack. Uh,
Yes.
you know, and of course the vitamin D for that testosterone. That's very big part of it, right?
Absolutely.
And for my light environment, especially working these 12-hour shifts where I'm getting to the hospital before it's dark and I'm leaving when it's dark out. Um, I that hitting that morning sunlight before the shift, if the sun is out there, because during the summer, actually the sun comes up at around 6:30. So during the summer, it's nice to get that sunlight in,
Hmm.
especially because I'm going to be under blue light for 12 hours.
Yeah.
Get that circadian rhythm in the morning, lunchtime. I'm always going outside for my lunch, eating under the sunlight, putting my phone away. Um, and then if I can, I'll try to watch the sunset at 7:30
Hmm.
after my shift. So that's one way I combat the anti-esoteric health hospital environment.
Yeah, I love that. What has been the most impactful thing you've done for your health so far?
Man, I say this every time I get asked. The
Yeah,
number one thing is no phone for the first 2 hours of the day.
I love
I
that.
stand by that till the day I die, man. I tell everybody this. I tell my siblings. I tell my
Hmm.
friends. Your brain, once on waking up, like I said earlier, you are a clean slate. You have
Hmm.
so much mental bandwidth. You're able to absorb information. That's when your best thoughts come, especially if you wake up, don't touch your phone, and go on a walk. You're getting a bank. You're hitting two, three birds with one stone.
Yeah.
You're kinetic thinking. You're getting those steps in. You're getting that morning sunlight. You're not staring at blue light. And when you go on your phone, what are you doing? You're almost always consuming content,
Hmm.
right? If you put that phone down, that's when you let your brain do its thing. That's that you're able to think, you're able to come up with ideas. And number one thing for my health, 100% no phone first 2 hours of the day. Whatever you do at that time does not matter. Just have that time for your own thoughts, your own brain activity.
Yeah, I love it. I try to follow that rule as much as I can. I
It
mean, the mandatory one for me is an hour,
Yeah,
right?
you know what?
But something that I realize is if I do grab my phone before that hour, anything, I just feel stupid the whole day.
Perfect. That
Yeah.
is perfectly said. And I mean, maybe even sometimes I don't hit 2 hours. I'll hit an hour, hour and a half.
No.
But I try to delay it as much as possible. I'll wake up, I hear my alarm, and I'll like reach over
Yeah.
and literally turn off my alarm clock, and then my day starts. You
Hmm.
know, but like you said, it it puts you in this brain fog that will carry with you the rest
Oh
of the
yeah.
day. Like the way you start your day transfers to the rest of the day. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If you get
Absolutely.
on, wake up, scroll through TikTok and numb your brain, dog.
Yeah,
How productive are you really going to be throughout the day?
exactly. I mean, you start a really, really powerful dopamine crave throughout the whole day, and it
Yep.
just makes you stupid.
Yep. You go through these peaks and troughs, and it's an endless cycle of
Yeah,
picking up my phone, picking up my phone.
yeah. I mean, I have a question here that's it's not related to this, but I'm very curious about this because it's the first time to speak to someone in the ICU who's had experiences in the ambulance since almost my age.
Yeah.
Um, so working in the ICU currently,
Yep.
the ambulance when you were 19, what has been like the biggest takeaway from these experiences? What has it taught you most?
It taught me that, like I said earlier, I mean, it really is. Life is so precious, man. We have one temple, we have, and that's our body. We have to take care of that temple because at any moment it can be taken away from us. Sometimes people tell me and say, Anthony, why are you doing all this? I could eat anything I want in the world and
Mm-hmm.
still live longer. That's not the point. The point is the time that you do have on this earth, you make the most of it because and make the most of it is in your health, your activity, your mind, body, spirit. Because at any moment, working as an EMT, ICU, your heart will stop and there's no going back, dude.
Yeah,
And
that's crazy.
and these people, like, I'm not going to say that they don't have their health in order, but 9 times out of 10, that almost is the point, that they don't have their health in order, and so taking care of your temple, um, combating the obesity epidemic, which we can talk about
Mm-hmm.
a little bit as well. So
Yeah, I feel like it's not about having this health in order, but I feel like the majority of the people you'll meet there is just they take their health for granted until something happens to it, right?
exactly,
I mean, at least that's what it's been for every single conversation on this podcast, right? That's
exactly,
why the guests that I have are where they are at today, right?
exactly, perfectly
Yeah,
said. Um,
yeah. So, what has been the most impactful experience or anecdote that you've had, maybe in the ambulance or in the ICU, that really made you stop for a little bit and kind of ponder a little bit on your life?
Man, that is a very good question. All right, yeah, here's a story. So I was it was my first time staying over at the ambulance station. I've done night shifts at the hospital at the PCT position on the ICU, but when I was like 18, 19, um,
Wow.
probably more like 19, I was one of the first like younger dudes to stay the night at the ambulance station. Right? It was fine. We were chilling all night. Um, you're allowed to nod off a little bit and sleep,
Okay.
so that's what I did because I couldn't hang with the seasoned vets who were literally 30, 40 years old,
Oh
right?
wow.
So so around 4 in the morning, I get this. I hear the alarm, ding, 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 in the middle of the station. It's the alarm. You hear the alarm and you say the dispatcher says driving accident off so and so road. And that's pretty much all we had to hear. We get in the ambulance and we're going, right. We go to this. I want to say it was about 5-10 minutes away on these back and windy roads. When we get there, we see a BMW crashed into the almost off a bank into the trees. Right, we see the back of the BMW sticking out, and we get there, and there's this kid. He's sitting outside his car, honestly my age. Like I don't even know if he was 21, right? Which probably you probably get where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
He gets out of the car, obviously intoxicated, right? Thank God, like he didn't have any injuries, anything crazy like that. We start taking care of him. He's a little scratched up. Um, More people come. Then his dad comes, right? His dad comes about 10 minutes later, and seeing seeing the look of the dad's face looking at his son, who was obviously driving drunk and ran off into the side of the road. Um, the look of distraught and disappointment on
Wow.
his face just scared me so badly. And I was like, he's literally me. Like, he could have been me, you
Wow.
know?
Yeah.
And seeing just how close of a call that maybe he was a little bit farther to the right or left. He could have went right into a tree and completely just ended his life, unfortunately. But he was good. However, it just scared me so badly at like a young age. I was like, that's one thing I will never do. I will never get in a car drunk. I will never play with my life
Wow.
that on that close of an aspect. Um, I mean, this story is almost not. I hope it's making sense,
It
but
is. It is.
it doesn't really apply to health, but it helped me apply to just you can't take any risks in this life, especially with drunk drive and being young. I'm 21 years old currently, and that scared me, and that's something I would never do because I know how detrimental it could be for my family. I have 3 siblings. I have friends who care about me. I know for a fact. So that's something that I always will never forget being
Yeah.
one-on-one experience like that because you always hear it. You always hear it in schools, but I got to see firsthand just how crazy that experience could be.
Yeah. I mean, I might not be a fan of like centralized medicine and I talk shit on Instagram
Yeah.
and on Twitter, but the absolute respect I have for nurses and for doctors is beyond what my words can explain. What you guys have to see every day is,
Yeah.
I mean, shit, right? I'm pretty sure that's not the only thing that's made you stop, right?
Yeah. I mean, the big thing, and I appreciate you saying that, man. And the big thing that I see is just the obesity
Yeah. Yeah.
of these man. It's hard to explain just how unfortunate these human lives just get to with being this size.
Mm-hmm.
And it genuinely hurts my soul because it goes deep, dude. Like food addictions, what's in our food, not being taught proper nutrition, right? And that's one thing that I will always take away from centralized medicine versus decentralized. Like decentralized, you're going to learn more about nutrition. You're going to learn more about how to avoid having to go into the ICU for respiratory failure because
Right.
you can't breathe because you're 500 pounds. You know what I mean? And I love centralized medicine, but there has to be more of a emphasis on treating the root cause. Nine times out of 10, it is that metabolic disease of heart disease, obesity, insulin resistance. You know?
Right. Right. Yeah. Shit, you truly have skin in the game.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So I think that this has been recurring in the episode, and I've heard you talk about it in our call. I've seen your tweets. You say you've witnessed real obesity,
Yeah.
right? What does that mean?
Real obesity to me is every aspect of your life is increased in difficulty. Walking, turning.
Fuck.
When you get to that size, it it, it is a downstream effect. You know, um, truly downstream effect, and it's hard to come out of that. Like it is a snowball effect. If you get to that certain weight, you honestly can't even walk properly. When
Mm-hmm.
you cannot walk properly, you cannot even burn calories properly, if that makes sense. And with this size, even in the hospital aspect, like it makes care so much more difficult. And
Yeah. Yeah.
you can't even, it takes five people to like unfortunately roll a patient. Their their trachea is closing because of so much tissue. They have sleep apnea, which is
Wow.
also a silent killer of a lot of people nowadays. Very sinister. Um, so that's what I can say about the obesity. You know, it's not pretty, and it's something that has to be treated and more looked upon for sure with more people. So
How often do you see obesity?
every day, dude, every day there's
Wow.
a patient um, who's morbidly obese and suffering the effects, and it's very unfortunate because it's hard to come out of that,
Mm-hmm.
right? Especially you become immobile. Like I said, once you're immobile, you what can you do? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? The
Yeah.
only thing you can really do is just not eat. And with these people, it's very difficult to tell them that
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, obesity is a food addiction. All of their enzymes and I forget their leptin and ghrelin
Yeah.
are all out of whack,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very difficult to overcome for sure.
Wow. Brother, I want to ask you a different question on another topic.
Yep.
How has your little brother been as a test subject?
Oh my gosh, my brother. All right, my I was so blessed to have a brother similar in age.
Oh,
Right,
wow.
he's 20 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Said I'm 21, and we're in the both prime of our growing ages. Right, we're young men, um, and I feel like as an older brother, I have a responsibility to turn him into a complete monster. Right, because
I love that.
that's how life is, man. I'm a big brother, and with all this knowledge that I've accumulated, what am I going to do? Just keep it to myself? No, I do
Yeah.
this. I do this for a reason. I do it to improve the quality of life of others. I really think of it as the most unselfish act you could do is just learning this information and passing it on to my brother. And he's home from school now, so
That's all.
we have this 4 or 5 months of summer to
Wow.
I got him sipping on the raw milk with egg yolks, maple
Oh, yeah.
syrup, slamming a pound of meat a day. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's fun, dude. Being able to do some sprints with him,
Mm-hmm.
go to the gym with him, um, and the things I would have done to know the information at his age.
Wow.
I feel like it's only right that I tell him, and
Yeah.
that'll improve the quality of his life. And together we are much more powerful than solos. So that's why I bring him along with everything.
Yeah, I love that. And that
Yep.
same point, my younger brother, he's 15.
Yep.
And yes, I'm very young, I'm 18, but to know what I know now at 15, oh my
Yep.
God. Yeah.
Dude. And the fact that you know these things at 18,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
that is unreal. Like I had no idea about seed oils at 18. I had no idea about the importance of light, the importance of getting that early morning sunlight.
Yeah.
There's so much things, and you for sure, you're ahead of the game, brother. Like you are on
I
a right
appreciate
path
you,
for
brother.
sure.
Yeah, I don't take it for granted at all.
Yep.
I'm doing my best with this information I can, and obviously, not just consuming but creating.
Yep.
Right, that's why this podcast exists, and trying to help as many people as I can
Yep.
while I grow.
And I think what you have like going on with podcasts are the new wave, man. Like podcasts podcasting is the greatest way to network and learn new information.
Oh
And
yeah,
you're on top of the ball, dude. Like this can your account will only get bigger and you'll have more intelligent people that helps improve your life as well. So
yeah. That has definitely been a blessing through the podcast. I've been able to meet incredible people. I had Jack Cruz, Ryan Carter,
yep,
just incredible minds that I feel like any kid my age would kill to have a conversation with.
that's
Uh,
fantastic.
yeah, I guess we keep building.
Yep,
Yeah,
always.
Antonio, what's your so throughout this podcast? I've seen you mention spirit a lot, and
Yep,
I'm pretty sure I've seen some mentions of it throughout your timeline.
yep.
Um, so what's your current understanding of God? And the reason I ask this question this way is because this is a recurrent question on the podcast, but the reason I ask it this way is because the more we connect to that, the more we understand it, if it makes sense.
I completely agree. Um,
Yeah.
without religion, no religion always leads to self-destruction, right? And God to me is having somebody who was always holding me accountable, right? Keeping me
Mm.
away from degeneracy, evil,
Well.
you know what I mean? Having that person looking over my shoulder
Mm-hmm.
honestly holds me accountability. And God to me is accountability and living through Him and um,
Yeah.
knowing that what I'm doing would be approved by God, right?
Mm.
Especially in today's Western world, it is a godless society, unfortunately.
Wow.
Um, so much degeneracy in music, TV shows, because nobody is holding themselves accountable. Nobody has
Porn.
God to look up to nowadays, and help them understand and realize that, hey, what I'm rapping about probably isn't the best. What I'm looking at on the TV probably isn't the best. So,
Yeah. This point reminds me of David Goggins.
yep,
Um, I think he's talked about it a lot of times. He wrote it in both of his books where the reason he does what most of what he does is because he imagines himself when he passes away
yep,
going next to God and God listing off different things of
yep,
who he could have been, the most incredible Navy SEAL, 3-time Hell Week when he was fat, and him regretting not, losing weight, right? And
exactly.
becoming the absolute beast he is.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a beautiful there's a word for this. Well, it's a beautiful image. It's a beautiful thing to have in thought, for
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, your temple is God's creation, and you have to take care of that.
Right.
You
Yeah.
can't. You have to, by living your most optimal life. You're living that gift of life
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
God
Yeah.
gave you every single day.
Absolutely.
That's one of the main drivers of health at the end of the day.
Yeah. It's one of the things that I preach. Taking care of yourself is just saying thank you to God.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. I love that. Antonio, what do you value most from yourself?
From myself, I value my love for just curiosity and
Mm.
wanting to learn new things. Sometimes I write in my notepad, my daily to-do list is learn one new thing,
Mm.
right? And I value that curiosity because that curiosity led me to what I'm doing now for work, the very niche health aspect of life, the
Yeah.
curiosity of optimizing your body, the curiosity of doing the right exercises to build a great physique. So always maintaining that curiosity is something I very value that I was blessed to be born with for sure.
Yeah. I love that. That's beautiful. And for my last question, one that
Yep.
I ask all of my guests because it's just full of beautiful answers.
Yep.
What brings you most joy in life?
Bro. The
It's not an easy question to answer. Yeah.
No, I honestly I know my exact answer. What brings me most joy in life is being with my family, more specifically being in the kitchen with my mother
Oh yeah, we talked about that.
or my dad outside on the grill cooking food, being with my siblings, chopping onions, chopping carrots for my mom while she
Yeah.
commands the kitchen, or she's building the sides, she's building one dish, and then, or I'm handing out stuff to the grill outside to my dad. And what I, that, that to me is my biggest life's blessing is just being with my family, enjoying food. My mom's 100% Sicilian,
Yeah.
right? She's the best cook I know, and something I appreciate so much is at the end of the day, just being with my family and being in the kitchen, cooking good food that's going to fuel us. We never really ate out as a family, like maybe once a month, if that, because we believe home cooked meals. I don't remember what the original question was, but like just being in the family, having that family environment, cooking in the kitchen, being all together is something I appreciate so much, and I was blessed to have, because the importance of family food is what drives the world, right? If you don't have those home cooked meals with love and passion and being around each other, you're missing out, because that is truly one of the life's greatest gifts.
Yeah, I love that, man.
So,
Again, Antonio, that was beautiful, and I appreciate your time today. I appreciate your love, your passion, your curiosity, and I appreciate you sharing all that you've done.
bro, you're the man. Alfonso, thank you so much for having me on. Like, this is if you would have told me 6 months ago when I started my X account that I'd be on a podcast, you
Yeah,
would have I would have called myself crazy.
yeah,
And you giving me this opportunity to rant, share my thoughts,
yeah,
share my experiences of life, because I think I live a unique life, and I appreciate you giving me a
absolutely.
platform to help
Yeah,
me out. So,
absolutely, man. You're always invited.
yes, sir, brother.
Definitely, whenever I have my actual studio, you'll be here as a part two.
Oh my gosh, let's do it.
Yeah.
I'll book the trip. I'll book the trip in
Oh
advance
yeah.
for sure.
Love it, man. Thank you so much.
All right, brother, you're the man.